Okay, well, I want to start us off this morning. It's still morning. Thanking Cecilia for helping us. She is my supervisor at the Rainforest Innovations program at UNM, and so I thank her for being in the background and helping us with the recording and the technical stuff. And at the end of our program, just so you know, there's going to be an opportunity for you to see some contact information to get a hold of us if you're interested in more information. But we're so glad that you're able to come and be here with us, with myself and with Monica Jojola from Montech Inc. and joining us for this first, I think, or maybe, well, the first interview that I've done, where we are recording success stories of Native American entrepreneurs. And just so excited that Monica has agreed to be with us. I've known Monica for a number of years now, and I've had the opportunity to do a little bit of work for her as well. And so she is certainly a wonderful example of someone who is enjoying some success, and excited to hear more about her story and her journey in just a few minutes. I want to start us off just by sharing a little bit about the purpose of sharing these success stories, and then we'll introduce Monica to you and dive right in. But basically, the purpose of our success stories is where are my notes? Are several purposes. One of them is to provide inspiration for those of you in our Native American communities who are considering starting a business. Maybe you've thought about that. Maybe you've dreamt about doing that. Maybe that's a desire in your heart, but you haven't quite done that yet. But so these success stories could inspire you to take that step possibly and to start down that journey. Another purpose is to maybe help you realize that these stories that we're going to hear, we hope that they will help you to embark on that adventure of maybe owning your own business or starting your own company of some kind, either on our reservations or in our Native communities, so that those new ventures can actually provide for your families and strengthen our tribal communities in some ways that maybe haven't been experienced at this point, or at least there'll be a new way to do that. Another purpose, we hope that hearing these stories will give you the opportunity to possibly maybe even engage in one of these with one of these entrepreneurs, and maybe ask them to be a mentor in your life. We need people in our lives to speak into our lives, to give us some guidance in our lives, to be examples. That's really what a mentor is. We seek to be like them when we choose a mentor, and so that's one of the purposes as well. And maybe on the side of Monica's side, maybe sharing about her story and her company, and maybe others who will do this in the future, that will open up more doors for visibility, even for your company and for your business, to serve our tribal communities through the products and the services that you offer. And so that is why we're gathered together to do this. Let me take just a moment to introduce Monica to you. And she has been, like I said, a tremendous success already. in her life. And she has been in business for quite a while, since 2011. She's a member of the Isleta Pueblo here in New Mexico. And she has established her company called Montech Inc. She is the president of that company. And she has won all kinds of different awards from the U.S. Small Business Administration and different organizations. She has led her company to expand even beyond New Mexico into other states, Arizona and California, just to name a couple. She has had decades of experience in this area of federal contracting and organizing manpower and resources for federal contracts. And for 5 consecutive years, her company's been recognized as New Mexico fastest growing company. She's one of those companies. And so we celebrate with her about that. And so she's just a well accomplished and well connected. And we're excited to hear from her this morning. All right. And so without further ado, let's dive in. And again, thank you, Monica, for being here and for taking time out of your schedule to share your story.
Of course. Thank you, Scott. I really appreciate the opportunity. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. So let me start us off by helping people get to know you a little bit better even. And let me ask, what service or product are you providing then through your company, Montech Inc?
Okay, absolutely. Again, I appreciate the introduction. Montech Incorporated is headquartered here in Albuquerque, New Mexico. So good morning from Albuquerque. Montech Inc., Montech Incorporated, primarily is a service company. We don't deliver products. It's primarily 100% service, program management support services, training support services, instructional design, IT, information technology, administrative support services. And the baseline of our clients are the U.S. Department of Energy, the U.S. Department of Interior, Department of Defense, Department of Commerce. And that is the reason primarily to have our footprint across the U.S. is just because of the clientele that we have in our books right now.
Mm-hmm. Okay, great.
Okay.
So a lot of different services, it sounds like, that you are making available, I suppose, through subcontractors that you're working with as well, or how does that work?
We are a prime contractor for the U.S. Department of Defense. The contracts are awarded to Montech Incorporated, not only in New Mexico, but Colorado, Missouri, California, Idaho, based on the type of federal clientele that we have. Those are prime awards. We tend to subcontract to many other small businesses or women-owned small business or veteran-owned business. And we also play as a subcontractor to some major primes as well. So whether it's a tribal corporation or, you know, a large player within the defense or energy field, we do play as subcontractor as well. But right now, as far as Montech Incorporated, a majority of the contracts we have in place are Montech prime positions.
Right. Okay. Well, it certainly sounds like you have a lot of experience in terms of that whole contracting and subcontracting kind of world. And maybe if those who are listening are interested in reaching out to you for some expertise in how to navigate that kind of thing, that might be one way that you could be of help down the road.
Of course.
Yeah. So another question I had on my mind for you was, what led you to start Montech? What led you to start your own business?
Sure.
And do you think of yourself as an entrepreneur in that sense?
Okay. And I really enjoy that question. I appreciate that question very much, Scott. I want to share with our viewers that I did play with a tribal corporation as an employee for about 14 years.
Mhm.
We had a plethora of federal contracts across the US. So, held a very important position for the growth and strategy of the corporation, learned it very well. Then the United States government was moving into a women-owned small business environment. They started
Oh,
recognizing that the acronym WOSB was, obviously representing women-owned small businesses were out there in North America. It would have just made no sense if I didn't try to pursue something from that. At that point, I had the experience. At that point, I'm learning the government environment. At that point, the customers across the country, learn the terminology, learn contracting, and it made perfect sense. In all fairness and honesty, the women-owned small business program that the United States government recognizes now in the federal procurement environment influenced my decision to start my company.
okay.
I wanted to be a part of that. I thought it was wonderful. I know what it means to be 8A. I know what it means to be a small business. But the fact that the government is moving toward recognition of women-owned small firms, I wanted to be a part of that.
Okay. Okay. So you saw the opportunity.
Absolutely.
You were aware of your environment enough to do that. You had some experience that you were also aware of that you didn't try to downplay.
Uh-huh.
And you just said it, and I love how you said it just made sense.
Absolutely.
Just made sense. And sometimes that's the way it is for us as entrepreneurs. It just seems to make sense. And then we just have to take the dive. And of course that's the scary part sometimes.
Exactly.
Um,
Take the
but
leap of faith and say this
yeah,
is possible. And I say
yeah.
over and over, Scott, is when I left a company and you've got that anxiousness and fear of like, what am I doing? You're so dependent. And I don't want to necessarily use the word dependent, but you've got that sense of security being employed,
Mhm.
bi-weekly paycheck by a corporation. But deep down, you're not leaving any job to go off and fail. At least for my sense, it was to go off and win. And
Mhm.
hear that, I knew that the path was there. I knew that certifications were certainly capable for where I was heading toward, and failing was not an option. It was, I'm doing this so I can go off and win and make something great from Montech Incorporated.
Right, right. You said PAC was there?
Path, like
Uh-huh. Tell us about that.
well, meaning my own personal path. We all have personal endeavors and personal milestones that we try to accomplish every decade, and I honestly do.
Okay.
Put in 2010 timeframe, you remember the country was recovering from a double dip recession, and people were fearful of what was going on in the country. And mortgages across the US were upside down. The country was fearful of the economy. And unfortunately for me, my milestone goal was to go off and spin a company in 2010. And I thought, holy moly, this is crazy. Am I really truly ready for this? I don't want to put my family in harm's way, but it was a milestone, a personal milestone that I had that path to go off and start the firm. So I sat on that for a good 6, 8, maybe even 10 months. And in 2011, that was it. I've let 8 months go by. And if I don't do this now, I'm not going to do it. And I did it.
Yeah.
Country was, of course, at that point, you remember 2008, 9, 10 timeframe, and so in 2011, that was the time to say, this is it. got to go off and make something big happen.
Right, right. Well, I know that there have been some other big companies. I don't recall exactly the names right off the bat. I think I don't know if McDonald's was one of them or not, but several other big companies that got their start when it didn't maybe make sense economically as far as the national scene went, but they did it anyways.
Sure.
And so you're not alone in doing that. So speaking of milestones, what are some other mile markers that you can maybe review for us in terms of your own success, your journey so far? You've mentioned maybe some of those already, but maybe if there's others that you wanted to highlight for us this morning.
Absolutely. You know, I have a strong belief, and this has worked extremely well for us, is to partner quite a bit. I'd rather have a partner than a competitor for a large acquisition. If I know I've got a colleague down in Oklahoma or a colleague down in DC and they're pursuing the same opportunity, I like to join forces and we pursue opportunities together. So I think that as far as a visionary and other opportunities that we're certainly pursuing from the Montech Incorporated, it's earning a piece of the pie rather than nothing at all. And we put some pretty strong partnerships in place. And I feel very confident about those. We're throwing so many opportunities across the table, so to speak, and hope something sticks on the wall so we can have a very fruitful, prosperous 22, 23, 24 year. We closed our books in 2022 at a, which I feel extremely proud of and what my team was able to accomplish. But 23 is looking amazing. And it calls for long days and long weeks and long nights. You know, we're running into the weekend for something heavy that we're carrying into next week. And when it's over and it's across, we breathe a little bit and we rethink and we gain our composure and we run again. I feel like I'm in college all over again when, you know, you come across many of these large opportunities and it takes a team. It's not Monica in itself. I might spearhead and kind of lead direction, but I've got a team behind me that does all the hard lifting and you know, they work as hard as I do. And I find them, they learn so much. And, you know, if I can provide a direction and support and encourage them to be better writers and thinkers and pricers and developers, collectively, it just makes for a winning team from Montech and a great partner for other large businesses to look at us saying like, oh my gosh, that team down in Albuquerque, they're amazing. That's exactly what we're trying to accomplish in 23 and for the years to come.
Okay, so you've probably, you know, created some significant partnerships along the way. What other kind of milestones, though? I think are, you know, as we go through the journey of this entrepreneurial journey, just like if we were, I don't know, going through college or doing anything else in life, maybe there are mile markers that were sort of significant wins, maybe even significant challenges that you faced that you had to deal with along the way that sort of you look back on and say, yeah, I remember when that particular thing happened and that particular thing happened over the years and the impact that made, how that contributed to the story of your success.
You know, when you're a federal government contractor, it is no piece of cake walk. There are many challenges put forward, placed upon us. Milestones for this year are to improve and increase our awareness with cyber and increase our security, increase our hunt for new customers, because I've got those in, I've got trusted partners and customers that return and buy and seek us, and that's weekly. And I appreciate that. I'm so thankful for that. But I challenge myself, including my team, to seek an agency that we have not quite played with yet. I feel that if we are experts in a core competency, I feel that if we have some really good past performance in that area, I feel that if I have the proper certifications, including acquisition methods, in my back pocket, then that customer should be no challenge to us because we've already done it for someone else. So, I challenge my team to a new customer, and there's hundreds. We are amazingly doing well right now. We are just covered in DoD customers across the country, here in New Mexico, Department of Energy customers across the country and here in New Mexico, Interior across the country and here in New Mexico and largely in Colorado. But I want to challenge myself and my team to seek those agencies and those federal agencies that we have not quite played with. But if we have more competency in the acquisition method, we shouldn't be fearful of that because we've earned our prime positions on many of those contracts already.
Right. Well, good. Well, I know from getting to know you in the past, and even our interview reaffirms to me that you are a go-getter. and
Thank you.
And you don't like to mess around.
You can't. I mean, I want us to have fun along the way, but we've got trusted advisors, and that really is our customer buying a very serious product, meaning our service. And I'd like to have fun along the way and have hopefully our individuals and our employees are enjoying their jobs and happy with what they're doing. But there are many serious positions out there that you've got to be prepared and take upon that daily challenge. Sometimes I think that's amazing what our team members are doing in many of these military bases across the U.S. And I feel, a gratitude for the government trusting in us for their resource to continue their technical needs. And I appreciate that.
Right. Okay, cool. Well, I'm curious how many employees you have, or how big is your team? I know you've got probably more than just a few people, but also, did you start with just yourself?
Yes, absolutely. Funny story, and it's not too funny, but it's kind of about it. Like, any entrepreneur in North America, and I'm not just thinking of Native American companies or anything like that. It was in my home. It was an extra bedroom I had in my home, a single kind of tapping away. Thankfully, we've got technology. We've got laptops. We got phones. We got cell phones. We have all that at our disposal to where we can send an email across the country and they think you're a 10, 20-man shop. Come to find out, I was pretty darn good at writing, and so to write some technical proposals, and I had a great pricer. So meaning that once you can write that technical and do a great presentation, then they bite on. It was literally started, Montech Incorporated started with one person, and that's myself. Again, Scott, I didn't leave my corporation to fail. I knew what I was capable of. I had an education in my back pocket. I had a wealth of experience, and I knew where I had to go and hunt, meaning my customers, and I knew what was a potential. With that, we've grown to the size of where we have over 100 employees. I'd love to end the year with perhaps 150, 175. If we had 200 employees by the end of the year, I'm going to be extremely proud of my team and myself. And I'm going to say team first because they're the ones who are writing everything right now as we speak. I get to enjoy speaking with you, Scott, daily and sharing the story, but they're the creators and the masters of all that good stuff going on right now. And so if I end the year, if I end the year at 200, I'm going to call you, Scott, and I'll tell you how great of a year we ended up
Hey,
with.
yeah,
It started, like I said, with one person. Go figure. Go.
yeah. And how many years has that, since 2011 or even before that?
No, we started on in April of 2011.
Okay, so that's just been over 10 years.
Yes,
That's not bad.
that's not bad. That's not bad. So
Great,
see,
great.
every decade we pull in 100 people. So that's a good way
Yeah,
to say it.
there you go. There you go.
Yes,
But I can
absolutely.
also, yeah, and I can also sense that there's a tremendous amount of belief in yourself that has contributed to your success, I think. Is that
You
right?
Scott, it's a lot of hard work. I want to be
Right?
really honest with our viewers. It's a lot of hard work, a lot of long days, and a lot of long weeks and months. But we have this beautiful foundation that was put in place, meaning we set it extremely well first. I know that the first few years of our company, the SBA would often call me saying, why aren't you applying into the 8A program yet, which is the certified 8A program?
Um, uh-huh.
And I already had a couple of federal subcontracts, not prime contracts, because you start off walking, and you eventually start running. But they would call me, and I wanted just a little bit more in my back pocket, meaning a little bit more experience, because the 8A program has a 9-year life, and you don't want to exhaust that. You don't want
Well,
any time in the SBA 8A program. So
right.
that I wanted to make sure we had some great traction with business. We had some
Mhm.
intel. We were starting to be masters and creators of new work. And
Mhm.
when I felt that we had our first good win and we were looking smart on paper and our path, PATH, was looking positive and fruitful, and we started
Okay.
running a little bit more, and then we applied into the 8A program.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Great. Great. Oh, there's so much to learn, isn't there?
There is.
Um, yeah. Let's maybe change tracks just a little bit.
Sure.
And you say your company's based in Albuquerque. Um, is it how is it connected? Or to our tribes in terms of are some of your clients connected to our tribes? Tell us a little bit about some of those relationships, possibly.
So Montech Incorporated is a women-owned small business. It's a small disadvantaged business. It's a certified 8A, and we're 100% American Indian corporation.
Uh-huh.
I am from the Pueblo of Isleta.
Hmm.
That is my tribal affiliation, is my folks, my family, they all come from Isleta Pueblo, including myself. So I'm very proud about that. Uh,
Hmm.
It's not owned by a tribal corporation. I own the company. I'm the president and owner of Montech Incorporated.
Uh-huh.
And it was purposely set in Albuquerque, New Mexico. One, Isleta Pueblo is 15, 18 miles south of Albuquerque.
Right.
And number two, I'm literally about 2-3 minutes away from the Albuquerque International Airport.
Right.
And number three, am I at number three? I do want to say that my customers are less than 10 minutes away from my corporate office. And that's
Yeah.
the U.S. Department of Energy, the U.S. Department of Defense, and Department of Interior. Any given way, if someone calls and says, hey, we need a 1 o'clock meeting, they're able to come down to my office, and we're able to put a few things across the table. And even for me, vice versa, they say we need to see you at 1:30. I'm able to fly down the street in any different direction and see my customers. It makes perfect sense. I had partners in town this week starting Tuesday, and we've been behind closed doors. And it was great because they land at the airport, get people to pick them up or however, and they're in my office in 5 minutes.
Mhm.
Back on a plane and they're out. And so it was just conducive for the type of work that we do. Keep
Mhm.
in mind, Scott, because I do perform, meaning the company does perform highly sensitive type of work, you can't gain that level of security clearance if I were camped out in a Pueblo community or any of that. But in Albuquerque, you can. It was not conducive to have my company in any Pueblo environment or anything like that. I have to be in the big city to gain the accesses that was necessary for my company to be successful.
Okay. And I think that is important. I know I'll be doing a leading discussion in a class in the next number of weeks about strategizing for Native American businesses, and I know it is important for us to be aware of our reality and what realities will impact our business and what we're trying to accomplish. And so it sounds like you definitely were aware of some of those issues and did not ignore them and took actions to make sure that you made the right decisions based on those kinds of things.
Yes.
That's great. That's great. Let's see. How do you think your business has benefited other people, like your employees, or maybe other even communities, customers, any particular ways that they've benefited, especially our Native American folks?
Sure. So my line of work is very, like I said, there's some challenges, there's some highly sensitive areas that we play in. The benefit and the value that I see in being a business owner, let's just kind of cut to the chase here, is that I'm able to engage with our community at a higher level. In other words, now I'm more sensitive to other small business programs. I'm more sensitive to any other entrepreneur who started 10 years ago or who may have started last year. I'm more sensitive because I know what the first 12 months feels like. I'm more sensitive to the needs of the Albuquerque community or the Pueblo or tribal life and the cultural sensitivities that involve or entail that. So as a business owner, here's the beauty that I have found at this point, Scott, is that, as the owner, the president of the company, I can take my 1 o'clock hour and say, yes, I'm going to join the University of New Mexico this afternoon, and I will support them with ... If I were employed with anyone else, you're seeking permissions and you're seeking approval, you're seeking sponsorship. But as the individual with the #1 seat in the House, you have the luxury of saying, I've got to support the university, or I've got to support the tribal meeting that's happening this afternoon, or I've got to support the women or the West organization or the Indian Chamber, or you do have that luxury. Eventually evolve into that luxury because it's not day one. You've got to be very selective in what you are supporting. And we've come to the point to where, and Scott, you and I have known each other for some time. New Mexico, Albuquerque is a very small community. So you play well with others, always, and always do the right thing, So when you do hold that #1 seat, you learn the sensitivities of being an entrepreneur in the first 12 months, like I said. That's the value I feel as a company owner and a president that you do have. So you can help support Albuquerque, or you can help support New Mexico at a pretty large scale eventually.
Right. Okay. So having that freedom to make that investment of your time and resources, even as a company, possibly.
And it's the right thing to do. It's the right thing to do. I read recently in an article that small business players and small business managers and presidents and CEOs, they are some of the biggest contributors to our 501(k)s across the country. And it's true. We get those letters across the table, anything that involves Native America, women-owned small business, new entrepreneurs, people of color that I feel are trying to become entrepreneurs. I will support those organizations. If they can say, can you please help support? Absolutely. Education, if it's something that involves our local university and they need my support in something, I feel it's a worthy cause and it's going to go directly to a scholarship or program. Absolutely.
Right. Great. Well, as we're sort of wrapping things up a little bit, I'm wondering, is there anything of particular, when I reached out to you and you thought about this opportunity, is there anything that you would like to definitely get across and say to our other Native entrepreneurs?
I thought about that question, and I feel it's important for me to share this, that initially when I started the company, I knew there were good people like Scott. I knew there was good people for like Sam and Joe and Jane and whoever, who these amazing companies are. Any smart entrepreneur is going to study those companies out there before saying, I got to run. I felt that it was important for me to do my homework a little bit and find out who were those strong players in the industry that I was pursuing. So when I knew who they were, and there was a pretty high probability I knew who they were, that I could pick up the phone and call them. And I did.
Mm-hmm.
I would say the first 30, 60 days of my starting to become an entrepreneur in April, I invited many of these super smart CEOs for coffee.
Mm-hmm.
People will not close their doors on you. Good people will say, absolutely, let's sit down and let's cover this area. And I invite them for a cup of coffee. We kind of chit chat. Well, who would you recommend for your insurance company? What about the attorney, the bookkeeper, the CPA? You get, and good people will recommend, other good people. And it's all relationship based. That business, it's all relationship based. And good people will not turn you away from a cup of coffee or some lunch. And that's what I did for the first couple of months of my business. And then because you need that foundation that I talked about 15, 20 minutes ago, when you do all those pieces extremely well, then your foundation is not shaky or rocky. It's very well put together. The other thing is, Scott, I didn't pay for anything to go off and start my business other than the time that I was investing in myself, which was the business. So many resources here in New Mexico, and whether you're in Arizona, Colorado, Texas, or wherever your state happens to be, in free resources, there are PTACs, which is the Procurement Technical Assistance Centers. There is SBA, the Small Business Administration. There is the SBDCs, which is the Small Business Dynamic Centers. Development Centers, I'm sorry. There is if you're a Native American firm, there's the National Center of American Indian Enterprise. There are so many different vessels out there to help support an entrepreneur, and they're free services. They do in that class to learn about bookkeeping, business development. So please seek those.
Yeah. Great.
Okay.
Well, it's good advice, good counsel, and I love how you also are talking about, the path. I finally caught your acronym. The path that you were following and the foundation that you set and that you could therefore build on, because you did some good work to start off with. So you had some good foundations to build your company and your business on. And so that's great. Well, again, you've shared lots of good stuff, and I thank you for taking some time out of your schedule and seeing how important this is to be with us this morning. And I believe we're going to have a slide that's going to be put up on the recording, or maybe it's even being put up right now to contact us if you would like to in terms of just needing further support, had questions about our presentation, wanting to access other resources, maybe you want to reach out to Monica individually and ask her to be your mentor. Whatever it might be, we want to make sure you have some contact information to reach out to. And so there it is on your screen. And we just look forward to hearing from you as you see this video. Maybe it's going to be this week, maybe it's going to be next month or several years down the road because of how things work. It's going to be posted on our UNM Rainforest YouTube channel, I believe. And so it'll be up there for a good long while, probably.
Good, that's good.
So thank you again, Monica, and we appreciate your time and hope this time is beneficial to the many other Native American entrepreneurs as we're doing this work at UNM. Our vision is to see how more and more of our Native American people can start businesses right in their own communities that can benefit their family, their community in so many different ways, but just providing that economic growth and stability that our communities need. And so we thank you for being part of that.
Of course, Scott. Listen, I appreciate the opportunity, and you call me if you need something, okay?
All right, we'll do it. Thank you.
Okay, good luck.
All right. Okay.